This video brought to you by Magic Candle Company. Visit themagiccandlecompany.com, use offer code OFFHAND15. Listen, you guys probably get the gist by now. But if you don't, stay tuned until the end of the video because I'll tell you all about it. And I mean all about it.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hey everybody, I'm back. You may not recognize me with the short hair, but I promise it's me. And I'm in a new studio today. You may notice a bit of a weird sound echo. That's because I'm in a new place today. This is the foam from my old studio that is now obsolete. There is one thing I wanted to talk to you guys really quickly about today that I think would interest you. And I think it's a good thing to talk about because my old studio, it's empty, it's old and dingy and abandoned. And that is the segue into today's video. An abandoned remnant of a Disneyland attraction that has been there for years in plain sight, right in front of our eyes that we haven't noticed. Or at least, some of us haven't noticed. A lot of us may have, including me. You guys ever been to Frontierland and noticed that something is just a little bit off? Something that's just sitting right there on the banks of the rivers of America, looking very abandoned. Okay, sorry, that's the last time I'm gonna do that. These old remnants of a railroad tell the story of an old Disneyland attraction that is now sadly gone. A sort of precursor to what we know today as Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This is the story of the mine train through nature's wonderland. Quite the title. And how, to this day, it sits at Disneyland, abandoned. When Frontierland opened in 1955, you would be hard-pressed to find a real, genuine ride in the land. There were attractions, of course. Lots of shows and things like the Mike Fink keelboats and the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes. The closest you would get is the Stagecoach ride, and one other very important and influential one. This ride was called the Rainbow Ridge Pack Mules, and if you recognize that name, you should. And yes, the name was accurate. You would ride live, real pack mules through different scenes of the Western life, including the small ghost town of Rainbow Ridge. But, you know, because Disney used live animals in this ride and not omnimovers, there were problems. If the pack mules got tired or scared or needed a break, they would have to shut down the ride for the better part of a day while they recovered. And believe it or not, this was indeed an e-ticket attraction, putting it right up there with the greats like the Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. The Rainbow Ridge pack mules would continue to circle Frontierland until 1973, although the route may have changed here and there over the years. In 1956, a year after opening, a new sort of mini-land was opened in Frontierland, and a new attraction alongside it. While the Stagecoach and the pack mules remained, the Rainbow Caverns mine train opened as well. This one proving to be more of a traditional ride, where guests would board a train and venture through scenes of the living desert, before eventually coming upon the Rainbow Caverns. But when Walt Disney himself asked Imagineer Mark Davis to put more humor in the Disneyland attractions, the Rainbow Caverns mine train was closed and reopened as the Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, which was a greatly expanded version covering most of Frontierland with various visual sights and gags along the way. And even though the ride had been rethemed, guests would still board the train through the tiny western town of Rainbow Ridge.
Force has unleashed the runaway mine trains on Big Thunder Mountain, but every day, Big Thunder strikes. Big Thunder strikes. It could only happen at Disneyland.
Skipping ahead now to 1977, the rise of thrill attractions and the need for more of them at Disneyland prompted the closure of the classic and beloved attraction for a new, more exciting version called Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Intended to be sort of a reimagining of the Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, just way faster and more exciting for the kids. You know, it's very important to get the kids in. And so the mine train closed forever in 1977 to make way for its faster, bigger brother, Big Thunder Mountain. But that doesn't mean that it was forgotten. Many different scenes from the ride were incorporated into the new roller coaster. Things like the Rainbow Caverns, and you would still board near the town of Rainbow Ridge, the small town that remains there to this very day, nearly untouched from its heyday. But the tracks that once spanned almost all of Frontierland were closed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were removed. As you walk through Frontierland today, you may notice some train tracks abandoned off the side of a walk walkway or a pond. And this is more than just simple set dressing, this is actual remnants of the mine train left to sit in the Southern California sun waiting for someone to recognize it as the old e-ticket ride. Most of the remnants can be seen along Big Thunder Trail, or in other words, the pathway that connects Fantasyland to Frontierland. Not only along this path can you see tunnels that the train used to pass through and tracks that belonged to the actual ride itself, but you can still see effects that were used in the ride depending on whether or not Disney wanted to turn them on at the beginning of the day. The most notable of which being the jumping salmon in the pond off to your right hand side. And if you follow the tracks coming back from the wilderness beyond, you can see that the train used to pass directly over this pond. And if you decide to keep an ear out while you're walking this path, on clear nights when there's not another tourist around you, and you stop in the woods and take a silent moment for yourself, you can sometimes hear it. The calls of wild animals like bears and hawks that are actually sound bites taken from the classic attraction. That's right, Disney still plays them. You can stand right by this pond and just close your eyes or keep them open because there are scenes from the ride, and just imagine you're back in the heyday of Disneyland. You know, the heyday where you had to pay to get on each ride separately. But hey, you might actually see Walt Disney walking through the park one day, so you know, apples and oranges. But there's one more piece of the abandoned mine train that remains at Disneyland today, and it sits along the banks of the rivers of America. After you pass the Native American village scene, keep a lookout and you might see some tracks embedded deep within the dirt on the bank of the river. This is, yes, you guessed it, actual ride track from the mine train through Nature's Wonderland, and if you keep an even bigger eye out, you might see an old, decrepit train sitting on those tracks, an actual ride vehicle from the attraction, sitting there rotting away over the years, in plain view, may I add, of all the guests visiting. Something tells me that the Imagineers in charge of the re-theming of Frontierland after the mine train closed didn't really want to part ways with the old attraction. And so I think it's interesting that, sort of in their own way, Disney kept a walk-through version of the mine train through Nature's Wonderland open through all of these years. A ride that you may not even realize you're witnessing at the time. And I'm sure a lot of us have just walked Big Thunder Trail without even realizing that this is a piece of Disneyland history. And not to mention Rainbow Ridge, I mean, it's nearly untouched. It's kept in pristine condition from the day it opened. Like I said, mostly. So how about you guys? Have you ever been on the mine train through Nature's Wonderland? Or maybe even the Rainbow Caverns mine train? Or even maybe the Pack Mules? What are your fondest memories of Frontierland at Disneyland? And do they involve the mine train? Or if you've never been on any of those rides, have you ever noticed any of these small details alluding to the past? Have you ever seen a salmon jump or maybe even heard a bear growl? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd want to hear your guys' mine train stories so bad. And so, even though the official ride itself may be lost to history for the rest of time, we can take solace in the fact that we know that there are pieces scattered here and there throughout Frontierland, waiting to be seen by guests and remembered. Maybe even some sort of indication that the mine train through Nature's Wonderland may return at some point in the future. I mean, the space is obviously there, the track is still there, and I personally think a slow, relaxing alternative to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad sounds great. But until then, we can find a bench on Big Thunder Trail, look out over the pond, and remember what used to be. One of the best and most memorable attractions in Disneyland history, sitting abandoned. Okay, that was the last time. Hello everybody, and thank you so much for watching this video on the abandoned history of the mine train through Nature's Wonderland. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new around here and want more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you just hanging around for all of my future videos. Trust me, we're cool. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this video was sponsored by the Magic Candle Company, which, by the way, it's holiday time. If you can't make it to a Disney park right now, like most of us probably can't, head over to their website, linked in the description down below, and check out all of their Christmas scents. Maybe you're interested in Little Old Christmas Shop, or a Floridian Christmas, or maybe even Haunted Holiday, a scent based off of my much loathed, but much loved recreation of the Haunted Mansion. Or if you're not into any of that, get the Haunted and Pirate's Life scents, light them together in the same room, and you will smell the secret Jean Lafitte scent. That's an exclusive offhand Disney promotion. You're not going to get that anywhere else, guys. It's a secret. Don't tell anybody about it. But if you're not a Disney Parks person, I get it. They also have Universal themed scents, Tiki themed scents, and so much more. Head over to the link, like I said, and use offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your entire purchase. That's the whole thing, guys. A big thank you to the Magic Candle Company for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, there is also a link for that in the description down below. They get early access to episode audio and sometimes full episodes. So if you want to be part of an exclusive club, well, you know where to go. And before I go, I just want to say a big thank you to Ben Lawrence for providing lots of the footage used in this episode. If you're interested in more in-park history on the mine train, head over to his channel. I will link it in the description down below, and there's also going to be an end card, so you can just click right on that and go over to his channel, check it out. But that, everybody, is where I'm going to wrap it up for this video. So, everybody, thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Goodbye.